So I'm sending a strong warning to anyone outside there who want to consider logbook financing. Unless it is absolutely mandatory, please avoid it at all costs. Avoid logbook loans if you can, unless you are borrowing that money to save a life, either yours or for someone else. Never dare to take logbook financing, and I will tell you why. You know, right now, let us assume that you need 200,000. Okay, you don't have it, you need to borrow it from somewhere. Where can you run to go and borrow 200,000 right now? Some people have options. For instance, if you are employed, you can go to the bank and, you know, seek what we call unsecured loans using your payslip, because the bank will check that, okay, you are full-time employed, you are a permanent employee of a certain company, and there is guarantee that you will get that salary at the end of the month. So that the bank can go ahead and assess how much you qualify and give you and lend you some money. Some people will go and borrow what we call salary advance. They can go to their employer and say they want an advance payment of a particular amount, they can get it. Some other people have very good amount when it comes to mobile bank lending. For instance, if you transact with a M-Pesa business, they can give you a big amount of loan that you can access. If you use mobile transaction apps like Equity or, you know, KCB M-Pesa or others, you can get very good, you know, limits. But there are people who don't have access to any form of financing. There are people, for instance, they have borrowed in the past and they have defaulted. So they are blacklisted by the, you know, how do you call it? The CRB, Credit Reference Bureau. They are blacklisted. When they go to the bank, all their mobile lending applications, they access zero limit amount of money. So that is where this logbook financing comes to solve that particular gap, because they are looking at people who are not creditworthy, people who don't have any record of financial transaction that can be, you know, presented and assessed. There are so many people who transact on cash basis, so they don't have any record that they can present to a lender and say that this is, you know, my guarantee that I transact this amount of money from time to time. So if you don't have any form of access to financing, then logbook in some cases remains as the only option. So if you are a car owner, you will go to these companies that are offering logbook solutions and you will tell them, I need 200,000, but I will need to, they will insure that loan using your car. First of all, you know, you are not known through your financial transaction. If there is any, you have defaulted. You don't have any guarantor, you know. So that means that these companies, they will give you their money at a very, very high risk transaction, because you are an unknown individual in terms of your financial records. Okay, so what you would expect is that interest on loans are, you know, how can I say, they are designed according to the perceived risk of the person that you are lending. So this momentum credit, this Mwananchi credit, this Mogo, all these companies, they have nothing that they can come and take from you apart from your car. So what they will do is that there are two ways. They can give you money to buy a car, and in that case, that car will remain under their ownership until you pay it fully. And then there is a second alternative to logbook loans and logbook financing. It's me as an owner of the car who owns that car fully, whether I bought it on loan or on cash. But at the end of the day, I finished paying all the debts that pertains to that car, and now it belongs to me fully. I can go to these financing institutions that use logbook, and then they will give me any amount that I need, as long as it is within the valuation of that car. They will give me that money. But two things will have to happen. The car ownership will have to be transferred at my own cost. It will be temporarily transferred to them. and then I will be forced to install security gadgets inside my car so that these people can trace me wherever I go. And in case I default to pay the loan back, they can trace me wherever I am with the car, and they can come and tow it and repossess it. So the most interesting thing, and actually I read this somewhere in an article, is that logbook loans, they attract an interest rate of up to 400% per annum, while a normal loan from the bank, that is secured through payslip or or unsecured, will attract around 27. Right now the maximum is 27% per annum, and it has moved up in the last 1 year all the way from 14%. So you can imagine why banks rate their interest, why banks interest rate are not as high, is because they base you, like they categorize you to a certain category of risk based on your history of loan repayment and borrowing and repaying. But these logbook institutions, they don't have any history of yourself. So the only guarantee they have is one, to make sure that they charge you the maximum interest in a way that if you pay for just half the term, they will have already recovered their money. So my advice to you is, if you want to buy a car, and I have seen this happen to so many drivers, because let's say there are drivers who will come into this industry of taxi driving in a very, very desperate situation, and this happens, unfortunately. People who come to this taxi driving, either they have lost a job, okay, or they studied and they have not gotten any job, or they never studied at all, so they don't qualify for any job. So those are the type of people that most probably you will find on the roads driving. But I don't mean that there aren't other people who are doing this out of their own wish. So majority of people who are in this driving, they got themselves there by accident. So if they lost a job, or they did not have a job, or they never went to school, it means that most probably they will not have any deposit to go and buy a car. So they will have to start from zero. And for them to get a car with zero income or zero savings, then it means they will have to go for these riskier and expensive ways of buying cars. And I want to advise you drivers, I don't know how you will do that, but you better look for a partner's car and drive for a few years and accumulate a certain level of deposit, and then have a healthy financial transaction record, and go to a bank or go to a structured what do you call it, lease to own, or what do you call this plan, hire purchase, or you go to a hire purchase plan with a hired vendor, and then you will have saved yourself a lot of money. So I'm sending a strong warning to anyone outside there who wants to consider logbook financing. Unless it is absolutely mandatory, please avoid it at all costs. I hope I have helped someone.